Okay, so when looking at the nose for Maris, I'm going to swap my colors here. Just swap over to blue. We're going to look at the quarter profile nose because drawing head-on nose is going to be really difficult with the supplied face claims. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to map out the angles of it, right? Obvious kind of stuff. Seeing the planes and how they interact with the space is really important when it comes to understanding the development of the nose, right? Because noses are very complicated and also they're really weird, right? So now I've got the basic plane and structure of the quarter nose, so I'm going to do this on the profile nose as well, right? We're not going to see that much of the same top plane, but we're going to see a little bit more of a definition when it comes to the side planes. And this just allows us to better understand like how far the nose goes out, what the topography of it is, like looking at the digital mesh, if you will, for how this nose would be structured. So I'm staring at it right now. We have our planes. I'm actually going to cut them out. Well, if I could get my thing to work, that would be great. Convert. Clear. Now we're going to make them bigger so we can stare at them. Stare at his noses. Again, noses are really hard to kind of like understand the grasp of when it comes to depicting certain things. I focused a lot on learning how to depict noses of specific races and being able to do ethnic features so that people are recognizable even within line art that they aren't white. So Maris is obviously a white person, but there's a lot of variation within white noses that we can get around, like, you know, button, sloped, arched, Roman, yada yada yada, all these different types. This seems like a very flat nose. Like, there's a tiny bit of upturn within this section here, like a little bit. So we can probably emphasize that just a tiny bit. And you can kind of see it here too, is that it's just a little bit of upturn, which makes you think that the nose is going to be a little bit more angular. But also one of the other things is that when it comes to slender noses, because he's got a rather like thin nose, like it's very straight, even within its topography, we don't need to really emphasize the outer nostril here. These red lines I'm drawing now, we don't need to emphasize those, right? If we want to, we can, but that's normally, especially for something that's heavily stylized, that's for something that's bringing forward, like, hey, the nose is a bit wider than you might think, right? When it comes to these smaller noses, we can normally emphasize that, hey, this is a slender nose by not flaring the nostrils as much. Reason why we do this on wider noses, though, is because outer emphasis of nostrils on wider noses, we see this a lot in, like, people of African descent. They have a deeper cave around the outer nostril that a lot of people with slender noses don't have because of how the nostril forms, right? So how I would do this, based on the topography, based on all of this, like, information that we've got, I would draw his nose like this. Ta-da! Okay, and stopping screen recording.